Hello, and welcome to the level guide for R6C3. Let's go ahead and get started by talking about loadouts. This level is very similar to R5B4 if you ever played that, but if you haven't, basically this level is just 30 minutes straight of shooting enemies. Because of that, you want to take weapons that are very good at clearing large groups of enemies at a time, so things like the Hell Gun, Heavy Assault Rifle, and Machine Gun are all excellent choices for this level. There are also going to be a good amount of giants, and if you are doing the overload objective, you're going to have to kill multiple tanks, so bringing things like the sniper rifle or the scatter gun can make this a lot easier to do. For tools, I recommend that you bring the bio tracker, the mine deployer, and 2 burst sentries. Starting off in zone 168, you will see that your main objective is to survive the Warden Protocol. You are given 2 minutes to prepare for it, and once it begins, it is a 30-minute timer where it will spawn waves continuously throughout that time. The pacing for this level is entirely different if you are doing only main objective versus prisoner efficiency, so while for this guide, the pacing and the footage is more tailored towards the prisoner efficiency side, you do not need to go this fast if you are only doing main objective. So anytime that you hear me say that you have to ignore the resources because you don't have time to grab them, or you just need to ignore the wave because you need to go to the next zone, if you are only doing the main objective, you can ignore that. I'm going to do my best to try and show a clear path to where you're supposed to go, and on top of that, I'm also going to show a list in the bottom right that is going to basically just have everything that you need to remember when you're going through the level. With that being said, you don't have enough time to grab any of the resources in the first room, so you can completely ignore them. If you actually do care about them though, you can find 3 uses of medkits, 3 uses of ammo kits, and 2 uses of tool refill kits. Just rush to the security door on the far north of the zone and head into zone 169. Inside of there, you also don't really have time to grab any of the resources, so pretty much only open the storage crates if they are not out of the way of where you're supposed to go. For resources, you'll be able to find 8 uses of medkits, 6 uses of ammo kits, and 5 uses of tool refill kits. Once again, make your way to the far north of the zone and you will find your blood door to zone 170. Do the team scan, put the mine on the door, and pull it as soon as the scan is over. Kill off all of the enemies and keep pushing forward. Run up the staircase and go through the doors to the next room. Have your mine deployer mine the bottom larger door because that's what the enemies are going to run through, provided both the doors are closed. You can find your security door to zone 171 here, so make sure to do the team scan and head on in there. Ideally, you'd want to make it here just as your 2-minute prep time expires. As soon as the door opens, have everybody run in and put your sentry guns facing towards that security door to kill the next wave of enemies. This opens up everybody else to start looting and getting resources. Inside of this zone, you'll be able to find 7 uses of medkits, 7 uses of ammo kits, 6 uses of tool refill kits, and your bulkhead key. Loot all the lockers you see along the way, and ideally you'd want to escape with at least half of the ammo and half of the tool refill. Typically the bulkhead key spawns in the far back of the zone towards the west, and once you grab the key, it's your time to get out. Kill off all of the enemies that the sentry guns did not kill, pick up the sentries, and run back to the blood door that you did initially. To the east of the blood door is going to be your room with your bulkhead door controller. Once inside, go ahead and throw the key in, and if you are only doing the main objective, you can go ahead and skip to this timestamp right here. If you are doing the overload objective, keep watching because we're going to head over there. Make your way out of the room and run all the way over to the very far north side of the zone until you find the overload bulkhead door. You can tell if you're keeping a good pace or not because the lights will run out at some point during your run over to this door if you're keeping a good pace. Once the door is open, head up the stairs and go through the first door that you see on the north. Inside of here, there's going to be a terminal which you need for your overload objective. Enter in the command SCP Zone Purge, and once you put in this command, it's going to activate a team scan that you need to stay in for about 2 minutes. You can put sentries down facing outside the large door. I don't suggest mining and closing it like I do here, because it makes it a lot more annoying to shoot out of once they break it, and you're going to have to shoot 2 enemy waves while you're in the scan. If you do end up wanting to mine the door, you should mine the second wave of enemies because you're not going to need to shoot out of the door after that wave. Inside of the zone, you'll also be able to find 4 uses of medkits, 2 uses of ammo kits, and 2 uses of tool refill kits. Unless these resources spawn in the same room as the terminal, you don't really have time to grab them, so you should just completely ignore them. Once you finish the scan, 2 things are going to happen. The first thing is that the security door to zone 306 is going to come off of lockdown. This door is directly in front of you. The other thing is that completing the scan will allow 2 tank waves to spawn in during this level. The first tank will spawn in about 10 minutes after you finish the overload objective, and the second tank will spawn in about 23 minutes after you finish the overload objective, or 13 minutes after the first tank. Inside of Zone 306, you'll be able to find 8 uses of medkits, 8 uses of ammo kits, 6 uses of tool refill kits, your bulkhead key, and 1 sleeping tank. You can spend about 3 minutes in this zone at max before you really need to get moving, so it gives you a good amount of time to kill the tank, grab the bulkhead key, and get at least all of the ammo and most of the tool. If the tank spawns in the first room, you have to kill him pretty much as fast as you possibly can. If he doesn't spawn in the first room, you can use any of the doors to help kill most of the waves, so you don't have to kill them while you're trying to kill the tank. Once the tank is dead, you have your bulkhead key and you have most of the resources. It's time to make your way back out and all the way back to the bulkhead door controller, do your main objective. Once you do your bulkhead scan, go up the stairs and immediately to the right you will find your bulkhead door for your main objective. Do the scan and head into Zone 172. This zone will be the only zone in this entire level that has any sleeping enemies in it, and for resources you'll be able to find 2 uses of medkits, 2 uses of ammo kits, and 2 uses of tool refill kits. You need to get to the security door on the far west of this zone to continue on with the rest of the level as fast as you can, so you don't really have time to open any boxes unless they are in the way of where you are trying to go. If this door is on lockdown for you, it'll come off of lockdown when there are 20 minutes remaining on the timer. Finish the team scan and head into Zone 173. You do not have time to grab any of the resources on this zone, and the only thing you are trying to do is get to the far east side of the zone to open the next security door. If you do actually care about resources, you'll be able to find 2 uses of medkits, 3 uses of ammo kits, and 2 uses of tool refill kits. Do the team scan to Zone 174 and put your sentry guns down facing west outside of this door. This will kill most of the waves that you're going to have to defend from this direction. As soon as the door is open, have 1 person rush down the ramp on the right side to access the terminal. Inside this zone, you can find 12 uses of medkits, 9 uses of ammo kits, 7 uses of tool refill kits, and your bulkhead key that you're going to need for your extreme objective. Even if you do not plan on completing the extreme objective, you should at least go into that bulkhead zone, because not only will you get resources from that zone, it'll also unlock 2 zones future in the level that you can also grab resources from. At about 15.5 minutes remaining, infectious fog will begin to rise and slowly fill the level. The extreme bulkhead scan is inside of where this infectious fog will be, so you want to be as fast as possible looting this zone and grabbing the key so you can get out. Ideally, you would want to grab at least half of the ammo and half of the tool refill. Once you've gotten the key, go west until you find the catwalk and then make a right to go down the staircase and open the door. There's going to be a small pit on the left, and in there is going to be the bulkhead DC for your extreme objective. Do the scan, and then run out, and to your left you'll find a room with your extreme bulkhead door in it. If you did the overload objective around this time, give or take a few minutes, you should be having your tank spawn in, so get to a spot where your team can reasonably kill him. You want spots that are easy to circle around him, and spots where you can potentially get elevation on him because it's going to make it a lot easier to kill the tank. You want to kill the tank relatively fast, because you're still going to have waves spawning, so if you take a few minutes to kill him, you're going to probably have to kill multiple waves while he's still alive. Regardless, once the tank is dead, head into your bulkhead door to Zone 250. Inside of there, you'll see your objective is to find 3 different cells and bring them to the generator cluster. For resources, you'll be able to find 6 uses of medkits, 8 uses of ammo kits, and 6 uses of tool refill kits. Along with that, you'll also be able to find 1 of the cells you need and a fog turbine. The other 2 cells will be inside of Zones 176 and 177, which you will find later on in the level. After the first tank is dead, things calm down a lot. You don't need to go nearly as fast as before, so if your team is hurting for resources, you can grab everything in here and you'll have more than enough time to do it. Once you've gotten all the resources that you feel like you'll need, you can start pushing out and heading over to the next zone. If you do plan on completing the extreme objective, you should probably grab the fog turbine. It's going to make it so no one has to get max infect when you're trying to bring the cells back from the main objective. The next zone can be found directly to the south of the bulkhead door once you exit, and this is going to be a Class 1 alarm. It's only a Class 1 alarm, so I'm not going to show an alarm setup. Just mind the doors behind you as you run through them, and run up the stairs. This will also be a checkpoint door, so do the alarm, and then do the checkpoint scan. If this door is on lockdown for you, it will come off of lockdown when there are 14 minutes remaining on the timer. Leave the fog turbine by the door, and then run up and to the right. To the west and on the east sides of the zone, you will find the 2 zones that will have your power cells which you need to complete your extreme objective. These doors will be on lockdown if you did not do the extreme bulkhead scan, so again, even if you don't plan on completing the extreme objective, you should at least do the scan so you gain access to these zones. Inside the actual checkpoint zone, which is Zone 175, you'll be able to find 9 uses of medkits, 8 uses of ammo kits, and 8 uses of tool refill kits. You don't really have time to go through any of the boxes in this zone, so you can just completely ignore all of the resources. Anyways, do the team scan and head into zone 177. Inside of this zone, you'll be able to find 8 uses of medkits, 9 uses of ammo kits, 8 uses of tool refill kits, and 1 of the cells. You have time to loot everything in this zone, so you can take your time here. You probably want to put your sentry guns facing the door that you just came through to kill most of the enemy waves that you're going to have to fight while you're in this zone. Once you've gotten the cell and enough resources, you can head back over to where you dropped the fog turbine and you can leave the other cell there. From there, run up the stairs to the east and continue on to the far east of the zone to your next security door. From there, do the team scan and head into zone 176. Inside of zone 176, you'll be able to find 2 uses of medkits, 2 uses of ammo kits, and 2 uses of tool refill kits. You'll also be able to find the other cell that you need to complete your extreme objective. Depending on how fast you're going, around this time you may or may not hear the sound of a tank screaming in the far distance. This isn't the sound that the tank makes when it spawns in, it doesn't actually make a sound. What this scream means is it's roughly a 5 or 6 minute warning before the tank actually will spawn in. Inside of zone 176 itself, there isn't really a whole lot to do. You should have plenty of resources by now, so just grab the cell and get out. Depending on how close the tank is to spawning, you would either want to kill the tank and then run the cells back to extreme, or just run the cells back now. Bring the second cell to the area where you dropped the first cell and the fog turbine, and then from there just run down the staircase and run all the cells back towards the extreme objective. You are very likely going to have a wave of enemies spawn while you are moving the cells, so when this happens, get the cells up as far as you can, then place your sentries down and shoot the wave. For the person carrying the fog turbine, you can either attempt to juggle the fog turbine or you can just drop it and shoot it with your team. There aren't going to be too many enemy waves after this point, and you're likely not going to get everybody at max infect, so you should be fine even if somebody gets like up to 60% infection. But once the cells are in, you're done with extreme and you can just go back over to the main objective. You can drop the turbine by the checkpoint door because you won't need it again for the rest of the level, and from there, follow the path that I take to the south side of the zone over to the security door to zone 178. Do the team scan, and head on in. Inside of zone 178, you can find 5 uses of medkits, 4 uses of ammo kits, and 4 uses of tool refill kits. There will also be your security door to zone 179, which is on lockdown until the timer hits 0 seconds remaining. If you're going extremely fast like my group was here, around this time is when you should have the tank spawn, but if you're going at a slower pace, you will have had to kill the tank earlier, so just keep that in mind. Once the timer hits 0 seconds, the game will still spawn enemies, but it'll be at a much slower rate, so don't sweat it too much if you can't beat the level before the timer hits 0 seconds, it honestly doesn't matter that much. If you are at the final section though, and you do have a wave of enemies spawn, you want to kill the wave of enemies first. You don't just want to rush straight to extraction because you are going to wipe. The extraction takes a long time to complete and you want to make sure that there are no enemies alive while you're trying to do it. Once the door is open and there are no enemies chasing you, you can run towards the extraction point. There are 2 doors that you can mine on the way over there, and you want to place your sentry guns facing towards the first door. This extraction will take a while to finish, so there's a few different ways of doing it, but the one I like the most is having everybody sit in the extraction scan until a wave of enemies spawns, and once that wave spawns, send 2 or maybe even 3 people up towards where the sentry guns are to go kill that wave of enemies. The extraction point is inside of infectious fog, and it's not really a great spot for funneling because it's pretty open, so you really don't want to just try and clear waves while you're all sitting still in a scan. But once all the waves are dead, finish the scan, and you will have finally beaten R6C3. Due to the nature of RNG, enemy and resource numbers may be off by plus or minus 1, but for the most part they should be what I show here. Outside of that, I've got nothing else. Leave a comment if you think I missed something, and you guys have fun.